Hey guys, what's up? It's an oh wow. Hey guys, what's up? It's Cynthia here, and today I'm bringing you a quick little video to let you know what books I read in the months of August and September. You'll also be getting a bonus book, the first book that I finished in October because it was an arc, and I really want to get the word out about it, so yeah, stay tuned for that. So yes, let's just get right into the books that I read. It's The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey. And this book follows a girl who lives in a world that the kids are basically zombies, and this girl, though, her name's Melanie, and she is really gifted and smart, and she actually cares about others, whereas maybe the other kids seem not to be as receptive to relationships. And yeah, this book basically follows her journey of discovery, I guess. I can't really say anything about this novel without sort of like giving everything away. It's a really touching story of a relationship that a student forms with their teacher in these odd circumstances because they live on an army base. I ended up giving it 4 stars. The more that I think about it, I might end up giving it, like, changing my rating to 3. Simply because this is a book that didn't really stick with me after I finished it. I sort of finished it and it was like, yeah, that wasn't bad. But I've kind of forgotten everything about it, and it's only been 2 months since I read it, so I don't think that's a good sign. Also, guys, I just apologize for the state that I'm in this video. It rained earlier, and this is what happened, so I'm sorry. The next book that I finished was By Your Side by Casey West, and this book was just like the perfect little pick-me-up that I needed, because that's what all of Casey West books are for me. This book follows a girl named Autumn who gets trapped in the library with the school bad boy Dax, and they have to basically survive in it because they're trapped in there and there's no food except for like in the vending machines and stuff. And I want to say that there's no electricity either. I think the electricity goes out, so it's like RIP because it's the middle of winter and they're trapped in the library by themselves. This book also hit on some topics in the second half of the book that I really was not expecting, and I think it was really brave of Casey to dive into those things because it's not something that I've really seen in her other novels that I've read. It was a lot heavier, I guess, of a topic. So yes, this book was really sweet, and it's not my favorite Casey West book that I've read, but you know, it's definitely very, very good. If you like Casey West, I think that you'll enjoy this book, and I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. The next book that I read was actually a buddy read with Morgan Vega, and that was The Savage Song by Victoria Schwab, and I loved this book. This was the second Victoria Schwab novel that I ever read, the first one being City of Ghosts, and it's hard to compare those two because City of Ghosts is a middle grade, this is a young adult novel. Before I gush about it, let me get into what this book is about. This book follows a girl named Kate and a boy named August in a world where there are monsters and people who aren't monsters. And this book follows the perspective of 2 teens. One is a monster, one isn't. And the boy who is the monster doesn't want to be this, and the girl who is the human does monstrous things. So she's not like bound by the fact that she's a human, that she can't be monstrous. And I don't know, I think that that's such an interesting thing because, you know, people are always like, the monsters do monstrous things, but in reality, she was a human who just had issues. I ended up tabbing a lot in this book. You can tell toward the end there was some sad moments. Yeah. Victoria Schwab's writing style is amazing, and her world building is phenomenal. I didn't want to say amazing again, but I almost did. I'm realizing now how crap I am at describing novels. But anyway, this is a book that I highly, highly recommend, especially if you've never read from Victoria Schwab before. I think that this would be a good starting point because there's nothing too fantasy-esque about it. Like, there are fantasy and fantastical elements, but it's not too over your head, I guess, because I'm not a big fantasy reader, and I completely understood this in the world, and it helped that it took place in like a suburban setting, and there just happened to be different parts of the city that were like shut down and were ruled by the different monsters, but it still took place in a place that I could easily visualize. So yes, I think it goes without saying, I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars, and just, if you haven't read it, please do it. And the next book that I read was A Quiet Kind of Thunder by Sarah Bernard. And this book follows a girl named Steffi and a boy named Reese. Steffi is mute and Reese is deaf. This was such a sweet, sweet story. I remember reading like 70 pages of it, and I was thinking, this is gonna be like a new favorite. And while it didn't end up being like a new favorite, I did very much enjoy it. I thought this book dealt beautifully with the topic of being mute and deaf. And while I don't have any knowledge, I guess, of those. I think that it was handled pretty well from what I can tell from reading reviews after finishing the book. The representation seems to be pretty accurate. And yeah, it's really just like a sweet story of two teens falling in love and coming together despite their differences. I do highly recommend checking this book out, and I gave it 4 stars. And now I have the surprise book for you guys. It's A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Tahereh Mafi. This book follows a young teen girl named Shirin. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I don't exactly remember, so feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. And it follows the events of 9/11 and sort of what it means for her being a young Muslim girl in the United States after such a tragic event. There's also some breakdancing elements in the story, which I didn't know going in, and that's so amazing because I know Tahereh herself does breakdance, and I think that was like really cool to see like another passion, another side of an author that you don't really get to see because, like, you know, no one was breakdancing in the Shatter Me series. I think it's a really special thing when an author can write about something that they're so passionate about. So yes, this book is very special. This book is very important and totally relevant to what we are going through in today's world. It shows the dark side of racism, but it also shows what it's like coming out on the other end of it, a stronger person. And I personally obviously haven't dealt with racism toward me because I'm a white woman in America, but I do see and have seen racist actions and words toward other people, and honestly it makes me sick and I hate it. And reading those portions in the book, I had to like sometimes put the book down and think like, what the heck is wrong with those people? Like that's another human being that you're speaking to, and I don't understand how you can treat them that way. This book is something that is very special, and I think that it's going to touch a lot of people's hearts and hopefully change a lot of people's perspectives that they might have that are really negative towards someone who's different than them, because that's something that we need in our world today. We need people who will look at another human being and treat them as such. Another human being, another person who has blood running through their veins and deserves life just as much as you. So yes, I think this goes without saying, this book is 5 out of 5 stars and it's one of my new favorites. I highly, highly, highly recommend checking it out. So yes guys, kind of ending on a serious note there, didn't mean to. Let me know down below if you've read any of these books. So I encourage you guys to just love on everyone that you see and be kind, and yeah, I will see you all next time. Bye.